Hey guys, in today's episode we're going to put these babies back together and make sure everything's working, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to continue working on the headlights. Just got back from my ski trip or my snowboarding trip in Utah, so I've got some time again to work on these headlights. I said today, I think on my last episode or one of the other episodes, this might have been the last episode in the series, but I'm actually going to probably have another episode after this. This one, what I'm going to do today is actually just kind of put everything back together, button up all the wiring, kind of get everything back in place, make sure it all works, and then seal them up with the Butyl rubber glue instead of the Permaseal. Kind of get them all back in one piece, and I'm gonna have to bake them and kind of get them clamped back together so they'll hold and be weather tight. Got all the projectors and LEDs and demon eyes all set up. I'm gonna end up reassembling the projectors into the housings. So we got everything assembled inside the housings. One of the things I made sure to do once I got all this is I wiped the projectors clean with some Windex to make sure that I got rid of all my fingerprints and everything on them. The last thing you want to do is when you get these inside the car, then you see a fingerprint on your projectors when the light's on. So I wiped those all down to make sure that they were clean. I reassembled the DRL boards back into the lenses. One of the things with the lenses, they just, if you watch one of my other videos, I have a link above when I was taking these apart, they basically just attach with 3 screws, 1, 2, and then one up here in the corner. And that's really what holds that whole shroud into the lens. The one thing you want to be careful with, never touch the inside of these lenses. They're very sensitive, they're not coated, so you want to keep your fingerprints off of them and then try not to wipe them with anything on the inside if possible. The headlight junkies always recommend, if you have to clean the inside, distilled water, kind of swoosh it around and then let it air dry or compressed air. So now that I've got them all kind of assembled together, I'm gonna, before final assembly, I'm gonna blow everything off with compressed air. On these things, if you look closely, I got all 3 wires kind of connected, nicely wire managed. I did end up using a little bit of 3M tape right there to kind of keep them in the little channel or groove right there, just to keep the wiring. But I just soldered them and heat shrinked everything and then connected them over here. I ended up just using regular butt connectors. Those are the easiest crimp on butt connectors. I do have professional DeWalt crimpers that give you this nice professional crimp. Don't use those cheap $10 or Walmart type crimpers on wires like this. Other than that, I think everything else is pretty much straightforward reassembly the way that you took it apart. As far as the wiring and how I'm going to end up wiring everything, I did, fish the wires through to here for now. I use red and black because that's very common, for 12 volts. This thinner set right here that I'm using, that's for the demon eyes. All three of them are connected through here. I'm going to end up just connecting these to the DRL wire of the harness. So if you look at this harness, you'll see you have this wire that goes out and plugs up to the connector that you hook to the fuse box. On the other side of it, that same wire comes through to this harness, and overall it shares the same ground with all the other electronics inside this headlight. So what I'm going to do on the inside here, I'm going to tap the DRL wire and then put some butt connectors, those same push-on butt connectors, to connect to the rest of this. So I'm going to have to do that so the demon eyes will need that, and then this is actually the lead for the third LED that I had on the demon eye video. I showed that I added this guy right here to kind of keep that thing glowing at night. That wire I'm gonna probably end up having to wire up to the low beam because I want that on when the low beams are on. End up just wiring that straight to the low beam, so it provides, actually no, because I'm gonna use the driver. I think what I want to do is use a relay. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use a 5-pin relay, and I'll kind of show that when I get around to that part. So as far as the old depot LED driver that I'm using to drive the DRLs and that little white demon eye thing that I added for the third beam, I'm gonna use this guy right here. So right now I got the red and the black go to the LEDs, and then the green and the black go to power. So I'm gonna connect this to the DRL power, the same one I'm going to use for the demon eyes right there, and then the regular DRL, so that thing's going to be always on when the car is on. As far as the power that goes to the LED, that's what I was talking about. I'm going to put the relay through this. The ground's going to be on the custom DRL, and then that thing is going to share the same ground, but the power, the positive side of it, is going to have to go through a relay. The relay is going to be off also, and then when the low beams turn back on, I'm going to have the relay pass the positive power to that guy to glow him at night. So that way when I turn off the low beams, it shuts that off and it shuts all the beams off. When I turn, so I'll just pass everything through the relay for this guy. So I'm going to start wiring up the relay to pass through the DRL signal, or the DRL driver signal for the night light. So in order to do that, I'm gonna use a regular 5-pin relay. This is a Bosch style relay. It's just a one I got on Amazon. I think I got a 10-pack for like $10, or a 5-pack for like $10, but it does the job. It's actually potted and water sealed. I previously used some actual Bosch branded ones, but those things aren't potted and water sealed, so I actually got water in that and it stopped working, so I ended up switching to these cheap Amazon ones that are actually sealed up, and they've been working fine on my other projects. So what I'm going to do is basically the 85 and 86 on here, I'm going to run to the headlight signal right here, so it'll be on this particular harness, it'll be the green wire, and then the ground wire here that shares a ground wire, which it really shouldn't, because on the car itself, it's got dedicated grounds for the high beam and low beam but I guess with LEDs that they're not pulling as much draw. And then so I'm gonna wire it down near here with the harness it came with. I'm gonna actually pull out the yellow wire, the middle, which is the 87A wire. I'm not using the normally closed side of the relay. I'm just going to use the other end. And one thing to note with these, this particular one, it comes with 14 gauge and then I believe 16 gauge. So the 14 is for the load, and then the 16 is for the actual relay. So I'm going to wire it down near here with the harness it came with. I'm going to actually pull out the yellow wire, the middle, which is the 87A wire. I'm not using the normally closed side of the relay. I'm just going to use the other end. And one thing to note with these, this particular one, it comes with 14 gauge and then I believe 16 gauge. So the 14 is for the load, and then the 16 is for the actual relay. all that wiring was pretty tedious. I'm probably just gonna show you guys this one side, and then the other side I'm gonna do off camera. But what I ended up doing, you saw me wire up the relay through the headlight, using the, connecting the switch side of the relay to the low beam here. I ran it through. I had some little cloth tape that I use for my lighting retrofits that I got from TRS. Use that to tape that back up. I drilled the holes, kind of got it nice and weather tight in there. On this side, I ended up using a lot of these butt connectors. I could have just soldered the wire straight, but I made it so it's at least reversible, or at least serviceable. If I ever had to take it apart and pull things out, it wouldn't be stuck. So what I ended up doing, I tapped I tapped the DRL power. So that goes over here, and that powers the driver for my add-on DRL. And then it also, these two wires go into the demon eyes. So I'm just gonna have the demon eyes on all the time inside there. They're those red demon eyes. If you guys didn't see my video yet, just check out the link above right now. I had a video about putting these 3 demon eyes on here. They're red demon eyes. So those will be powered on all the time. During the day, you probably can't even see it, so it doesn't matter. And this one right here, this is the pass-through for the driver. So when I put up here on that demon eye one, I showed that I added this basically glow for when the headlights are on, because the headlights, these two are on the low beams, and this is the high beam, so it's not on all the time, but I wanted it to glow so it looks like there's 3 projectors on when the low beams are on, but it's not really the light on. It's just the white LED that I put on top here. So I had that kind of rigged, not rigged, but on the relay system to pull current from the drivers when that happens. But anyway, I'm gonna button this all back up and test to see if everything works. Supply all set up now. I'm gonna clip alligator clips to the power. See this baby's come on. Oh yeah, everything's on. Demon eyes are on. Yeah, this thing looks pretty awesome now. Everything's glowing. You can see the add-on DRLs inside the lens. The demon eyes kind of glow slightly. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna test out the low beams and high beams and all that right now. Blew out the power supply by accidentally shorting it. I let it reset for a minute or 2. Everything's back working again. I'm gonna plug up the DRLs and then do the high beam or the low beams. I need my relay in there for the switching. Alright, we got everything on now. Low beams, DRLs, the little DRL light right here on the high beam. I'll turn off the lights to see how this looks. I'm going to lower the exposure down to see how it looks. So I tested all the functions on it. It works. Turn signals, sequentials all work. So everything is working pretty good. Right now I'm going to end up working on the second headlight off camera. I don't think you guys want to watch me do the same thing I did on this head recording again once I get everything back together and then I bake them close again. One of the things I think earlier when I was talking about me wiping that lens down, you know, when I did wipe it with the Windex, it didn't look like there was any streaks. It was pretty clean, but now that I actually have the lights on and there's stuff projecting through it, you can actually see, let me lower the exposure. You see the streaks in that projector right there. I'm gonna use one of my camera lens, little squeegee things. I'm gonna scrub them, rid of all those little streaks on the lens. That's gonna annoy me. So I got the other side done off camera. Now that I confirmed that it's all working properly and tested, I'm about to start putting the new butyl in the channel. I have to heat it up with the heat gun and everything, just get it tucked into the channel. Then bake it for about 5-6 minutes and then put the lens back on and clamp it so it seals up again. So the butyl glue I'm going to use, the stuff I bought on Amazon. I think I only paid like $7-8 for it. It's actually it's this auto glass sealant. You know, I've used this stuff, retro rubber and all that stuff from TRS and all that, and they charge about twice as much for their stuff. But I think it's the same thing, because when I got this, it looks like the same stuff. I know TRS gets all their stuff from China anyway, so you know, it wouldn't be surprising if you know, they just sourced it from a company like this. But you know, it's pretty sticky stuff. Once you heat it up, it gets really much more palatable and sticky. I've used gray before. I've ordered some from Home Depot that they have there that for sealing gutters and stuff, and it was gray stuff. But since this headlight's all black and everything, I didn't want to use the gray, so that's why I ordered this black, so it blends in better. Honda headlights and stuff, I've used the gray. So I'm gonna go ahead and go inside, bring it all inside, and use the oven and everything. So one of the tools I'm going to use to seal up these lights when I get the butyl and everything put together and baked is these Morimoto clips. I think I bought a dozen of these a couple years ago. They were like $1.25 or something like that, or $1.50 each. What you use them for is you basically use this thing. It just clamps between the lens and the housing, gives it a little bit of extra protection. As you can tell, that they're not that great of a quality, because these two I had them on a headlight, held them, you know, until it was set pretty good, and then I took them off because they were visible up top, and you can see the corrosion from it getting wet. These two are brand new, so they haven't been used. I thought I had more of these, but I guess I only had 2 left in my box of stuff for headlight retrofits, so I end up using these two on each headlight to kind of hold the corners together, and I'm going to clamp the rest of it when I I'm just letting it clamp and kind of cool down a little bit so the butyl settles in place. Some of these edges I got to just hit with a heat gun just to form it a little bit better. If you look close, you can see the butyl kind of ooze out of the edges, which is kind of what you want for the most part. Not too much because it becomes a mess and it gets too sticky. The bottom here looks like everything's clamped pretty tightly. I got the sides. This side's the hardest right here, but you could tell I had plenty of butyl right there, so it's kind of oozing out, so that provides a pretty good seal right there. I have this one of these clips here just to hold that, and then the clamp to let that bottom part seal up or cool down in place. But yeah, most of this butyl crap is sticky. Best way to take it off is just grab another chunk of butyl and just rub it off. On my gloves and stuff, it kind of got stuck on the lens, but clean it off with another piece of butyl. So overall, looks pretty good. Just got to do a little bit of cleanup with a heat gun and I should be good. So once I got everything kind of formed and clamped together, I put it back in the oven for about 5 more minutes at 270 just to do one final bake, kind of get everything loosened up and all the clips and everything, so I can squeeze it back together and I should be good. We'll see how this holds up. So finally got everything reassembled together, got everything heated up, cleaned up all the butyl, sealed up all the edges. So overall, very happy with it. Everything went back together perfectly. You know, all the edges where I worked it with the screwdriver, I was able to bend everything back and heat it up and kind of get everything together. As you can see, I ended up using that Morimoto clip on that side right there, and then again on the corners, right there in the corners where I did a lot of the prying with the screwdrivers to get that shape all back together. Got it right here mounted on that side, but overall looks pretty good. Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to your channel and like this video if you found it informative and useful. On the next episode, I'm going to end up installing these on the car. I'm going to do that full review that I was talking about with all the light levels, with all the different light outputs on the car, you know, HIDs, the LED ones I have on there now, and the new ones, and see how they all compare. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.